Hello, my name is Nupur Shah, and today the topic which have been given to me is known as sports injuries, and in that overuse sports injuries we'll be dealing with. And in the previous video we already discussed about the acute sports injuries. This is the second part, which is known as overuse sports injuries. Coming on to the first slide, that is of introduction, and what are the three basic challenges which is faced by the clinician. Number one is diagnosis, number two is treatment, and the final one is identifying the cause. Why identifying the cause is very important, because if we identify the cause, then we can deal with it and we can stop the injury to occur again, and that is how the cause will help, and it is utmost important to deal with the cause. Secondly, a careful examination will may reveal the anatomical structure which is affected, and so that after the physical examination we can send the patient to MRI, or to get an MRI done or the bone scan done if it is needed. The treatment of the overuse injuries will include rest, ice, general fitness of the athlete has to be maintained, drugs, soft tissue techniques, and even modalities. So what are the predisposing factors? Predisposing factors are extrinsic factors and intrinsic factors. Both are responsible for the overuse injuries. What are the extrinsic factors? One is the training errors, then surfaces, shoes, equipments. How all these factors will affect and athlete may suffer from overuse injuries because of all these factors is that if the shoes are not proper, if it is too old, or if they are torn, then if it won't fit to the athlete properly, and he won't be able to give proper performance, and he will end up in having some injury. And if the equipments which he is wearing are not proper, then also he will suffer from the injury. Then if the surfaces are not proper, means we have already seen in the ACL tear that as per research, the artificial surfaces are more responsible for athlete to have an ACL tear, and the natural grass has less rate of the ACL tear. And training errors means if the athlete has less skills, and the basic skills are missing, then also he will suffer from overuse injury. And intrinsic factors means there might be any malalignment, there might be muscle weakness, there might be muscle imbalance or leg length discrepancy. Malalignment, like for example, if the feet is going for overpronation, then that will create more stress on the tibia, which will in turn create more stress on the knee joint, and the patient may suffer from some problem of the knee, such as knee pain, or some problem of the tibia such as tibial shin splint syndrome, anything like that. So all has to be corrected, means the malalignment has to be corrected, so that the patient will have less chances to get an overuse injury in the future. Likewise, if there is any muscle imbalance or muscle weakness, then proper output will not be coming, means the performance will reduce. And in a way, muscle imbalance also has to be corrected, and leg length discrepancy should be corrected by a shoe raise, so that the athlete can play comfortably. Next is the stress fracture. This is the first overuse injury which happens in the bone, and it is the microfracture in the bone because of physical overloading. There are two mechanisms responsible for this. One is action of the muscle pull across the bone, and second is redistribution of the impact forces. Which bones are common to be injured for a stress fracture is that tibia, fibula, pelvis, and talus. What are the diagnostic features for the stress fracture? The athlete will be having pain and tenderness over the fracture site, the history of a recent change in training, or taking up a new activity recently. X-ray might be normal, or there might be some amount of periosteal reaction which is visible. The next is if the patient is taking the bone scan, then some abnormality can be seen in the bone scan. This is the CT scan. You can see the highlighted part in the center. It is marked by the arrow. That is a stress fracture. Coming on to this next injury of the bone, which is known as bone strain. Initially, because of overloading, the bone will be suffering from silent stress reaction, and then this stress reaction will slowly increase, and ultimately it will end up in having the stress fracture. Clinical features for bone strain, stress reaction, and stress fracture. Now, what is a stress reaction? When the athlete is going for when the athlete is going for a bone scan, or is then there is increased uptake of the radio isotope, but the classification is not done as per stress fracture. Means it is not said, it cannot be classified as stress fracture, and so the name is given as stress reaction. This is the only difference. Next is apophysitis. The main example of apophysitis is the Osgood-Schlater's disease, which usually happens in the adolescent boys. Here, the bony inflammation and separation occurs at the attachment of the strong large tendons to the growth areas. We'll see the picture of the Osgood-Schlater's disease. This is the apophysitis. You can see the eruption of the tibial verocity shown in the X-ray. Articular cartilage, there are two things which happens in the articular cartilage under the heading of the overuse injury. Number one is osteoarthritis, which happens in the old people, usually in the weight bearing joints. And number two is in the young ones, they suffer from PFPS, that is patellofemoral pain syndrome. You can see the picture of the articular cartilage. On the left hand side, the picture of the articular cartilage is of a normal person, and on the right hand side, the articular cartilage is injured. And here we can tell that in osteoarthritis there is slow wear and tear of the articular cartilage because of the daily routine, and one day the articular cartilage will completely get eroded, and the subchondral bone will be visible, and there will be subchondral bone sclerosis, and the patient will be having pain, lack of range of motion, means knee flexion will be restricted, he won't be able to do weight bearing properly. Then he might be having genu varum deformity in the last stage of the osteoarthritis. Then next is PFPS, that is patellofemoral pain syndrome. What is patellofemoral pain syndrome? The features are, it happens in the young people, and it is more common in the runners, and onset is while running or stair climbing. Then pain is non-specific, and it is vague pain which is at the medial, lateral or infrapatellar region. Then at inspection we can see VMO wasting, and there might be the tightness of the IT band. Then tenderness may be felt in the region surrounding the patella. Then swelling or crepitus might be present. Giving way is occasional because of the weakness of quadriceps, that depends from patient to patient, and knee range of motion might be affected and might be reduced in chronic cases if untreated properly. In this joint, we have the example of two things. Two inflammatory diseases are seen in the joint as a part of overuse injury of the joint. Number one is the sinus tarsus syndrome, and number two is the synovitis of the hip joint. Then in the ligament injuries, in the section of overuse sports injuries is not common. The only ligament injury which is common is medial collateral ligament injury, which is usually injured in the swimmers, especially in the breaststroke swimmers. Coming on to the muscle, there are three overuse injuries in the muscle. One is DOMS, that is delayed onset muscle soreness. Then second is a chronic compartment syndrome, and the third is a focal tissue thickening. This is the flow chart for the muscle damage which happens. So first, because of the overuse, there might be gross muscle or facial tightness. Then it is followed by muscle damage. Then it is followed by muscle adhesions, and then the tension further increases and the tightness of the muscle further increases, and it is accompanied by pain, reduced function, and continued overuse will lead to injury to the associated structure, that is the muscle fiber. Development of the compartment syndrome. So what is the compartment syndrome? There is increase in the pressure in any one of the compartment. It is usually common in the lower limb, and here they say that because of the overuse there might be swelling in any one of the compartments, so that compartment will become tight and there is decreased blood supply, and so in turn compartment syndrome will happen. DOMS, what is DOMS? It is delayed onset muscle soreness. It happens usually after 24 to 48 hours of the physical activity, and usually it is seen after eccentric training or eccentric contraction of the muscle. What are the causes? The causes as per research are muscle spasm or lactic acid accumulation or torn tissue. How do we treat? Usually stretching helps. Stretching after the occurrence of DOMS, stretching of the particular muscle will help. Warm down after the particular activity, and active non-weight bearing exercises. Coming on to the next condition of the tendon. In tendon, they are the most commonly injured in the overuse sports injuries, and tendon can withstand the tensile forces, but it cannot withstand the compressive and the shear forces. This is the stress strain curve for the tendon. You can see as the strain increases, the stress will increase, and at one particular time the tendon will fail and it will lead to a tendon rupture. So what are the clinical features of tendinosis? Pain will happen after exercise, and more frequently morning stiffness is present, and in morning the patient will be having more pain. The patient will be having rest pain also, and initially becomes less painful with use. Athletes can run through the pain, or the pain disappears when they warm up and they return after the cool down, and the athlete is able to train fully in the early stages of the condition, but this may interfere with the healing process. That means that he can play in spite of having tendinosis in the early stages, but that will interfere with the healing process. Examination will reveal the local tenderness, and if we palpate, then there might be thickened tendon which is noticed by the therapist. There might be swelling and crepitus which is usually present. Coming on to the bursa, in bursa, the common condition is known as bursitis, which happens in the following bursa. Means the common sites are subacromial bursa, iliotibial bursa, then greater trochanteric and retrocranial bursa, associated with pain, local tenderness and swelling. Coming on to the nerves, in nerves the common condition is nerve entrapment syndrome. It occurs because of the swelling in the surrounding structures of the nerve. Because of the swelling of the surrounding structures, the nerve will get impinged, or the nerve might get entrapped. The examples are a suprascapular nerve, the posterior interosseous nerve, ulnar and the median nerves in the forearm, obturator nerve in the groin, posterior tibial nerve at the tarsal tunnel, and Morton's neuroma. This is the last part of the overuse injuries, and for the skin, usually the overuse injury which the athlete can suffer from is known as the blister, and blister may occur because at any side of the friction with the external source. Blisters will occur at any side of the friction, which means wherever in the feet or wherever in the body the friction is more, at that particular site the blister is more common to occur. The foot blisters are avoided or can be avoided by wearing the socks or applying the petroleum jelly, and this will also prevent the callus. The treatment is prevention by the use of antiseptics and protection with sticking plaster. So that's all about the overuse injuries. Thank you.